So good to be talking about Cyberpunk 2077. Hey everyone, what's up? Open World Games here. Hope you all are doing good today. And let's dive into the latest news about Cyberpunk 2077 because CD Projekt Red just made a big move. They made a very good decision about their game, Cyberpunk 2077. Plus, we got some more news here about CD Projekt Red's plans going forward in the future. Some really interesting stuff there for sure. But this was the question asked out on Twitter by Cedric, who says this: Epic Games Store exclusive too. So a lot of people are wondering, is Cyberpunk 2077 going to be an Epic Games Store exclusive? And the response was from CD Projekt Red's Marcin Moment, who says this: our goal is to make Cyberpunk 2077 available to as many gamers as possible on their platform of choice. So excellent news there. Seems like you'll be able to get Cyberpunk 2077 anywhere on basically any platform of your choice going forward. So that's really good news. You know, there's been a lot of games that have, and developers that have been offered exclusive deals to go on the Epic Games launcher on PC. And that's been a big issue for many gamers. They just want to be able to use Steam or whatever, platform they want. They want the freedom to be able to choose. And a lot of, games took some heavy hits from their fan base just by going exclusive with Epic Games. If you look to Metro Exodus, for example, that's one game that had its fan base just basically up in arms over the decision from the publisher and developer to go on the Epic Games launcher as a temporary exclusive. Here's one of the articles. It says, Epic on pulling Metro Exodus from Steam. We don't want to do that ever again. This comes from PC Gamer. See the sources in the description below. So even Epic Games realizes how much of a strain it can put on developers and publishers just by making a decision not to have their game available on another platform. So that's a big deal, especially in the PC community. The freedom of choice and be able to do whatever you want. Of course, there's tons of benefits for these developers, for these publishers in terms of savings when it comes to getting on a platform like Epic Games Launcher. I mean, the savings are huge overall. So I do get that being a rough decision for sure when it comes from a publisher-developer standpoint. But furthermore, this is what Epic Games had to say about this, and the article goes on to say this. When Epic Games announced that Metro Exodus would be a year-long Epic Store exclusive, it was close to release and had already been taking pre-orders on Steam. At the time, I said it was an act of war, and that's from PC Gamer. Now, a panel of Epic Store leaders were asked during an Epic Store Q&A at GDC 2019 today if, given how much rage the move caused, they'd ever do something like that again. And Steve Allison, head of Epic Games Store, responded immediately saying, we don't want to do that ever again. So again, the sentiment there is they don't want to basically piss off developers, fan base, and everyone. Now, you may remember that the Division 2 also moved to the Epic Games Store as well, and the CEO, Yves Guillemot, praised Epic's terms, but says the move was to increase player exposure to their own store. And get this, they go on to say this: there are a growing number of distribution platforms fighting for great content, he said. With this deal, we saw an opportunity to increase player exposure to our own store, while at the same time supporting a partner that greatly values our games and provides better terms. Early indications are supportive as PC pre-orders are higher than the first Division, and pre-orders on the Ubisoft store are 6 times higher. We believe this deal is a long-term positive for Ubisoft. So you could see how it differs from company to company with this Epic Games Store deal. In my opinion, I think it would have really most likely hurt Cyberpunk 2077 if they had decided to go with an exclusive deal with the Epic Games launcher. Now, if you didn't know, CD Projekt Red also has a company called GOG that actually distributes digital games on that platform. So basically, in a way, CD Projekt Red is a competitor of Epic Games Store. So it would make sense for them to be hesitant to go on the Epic Games launcher. That's, I think, also part of it, to be blunt with you guys. Now, let's go on ahead and talk about CD Projekt Red and their plans for the future, because they aren't just sticking with Cyberpunk 2077 going forward. It looks like we're going to be hearing from another very big AAA game from them in the very near future. So let's talk about that one. So this was on their strategy page. It says, plans: in order to preserve our competitive advantage, this public version of the group's plans only lists selected components of our strategic agenda. For the same reasons, the descriptions of certain projects are necessarily tiers. Plans have been divided into two periods, the current year 2016 and the following 5-year period 2017 through 2021. Within each period, individual items are not arranged in chronological order. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Goes off to list the future of CD Projekt Red. Of course, we're going to be getting the release of Cyberpunk 2077 before 2021. That's going to be an absolute guarantee. And then during that time, though, we're going to be getting apparently the release of another AAA RPG title, and that's really huge. So we have no word as to what this really could be. And it sounds like it's going to be something brand new, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be the next Witcher game. At least that's what I'm feeling here, because they describe it as a new AAA RPG experience. So my curiosity is definitely piqued. We'll be hearing about this game at this E3. Of course, we do know that CD Projekt Red will be making an appearance at both E3 and Gamescom this year. But honestly, I would expect any reveals related to their next AAA RPG to be happening at, the next E3 in 2020. So that's my opinion on that one. I don't think they're going to be crowding the marketing for their game Cyberpunk 2077 during E3 with another announcement. I think they're going to hyper focus on Cyberpunk 2077 going forward at E3 and even at Gamescom, possibly at Gamescom, talking about the game even further, maybe even post-launch support for the game, who knows. But I think going forward that they really want to fixate and focus wholeheartedly on Cyberpunk 2077. Now, interestingly, if you did not hear, it looks like CD Projekt Red in the long term, I'm talking about long term, like 5 years or something like that, seems to be interested in multiplayer as well. They're experts, obviously, at these open world single player experiences, but it does look like they want to tap into multiplayer. There's tons of evidence suggesting that they are very much interested in this because they are hiring for multiplayer support for their games. There's been several articles going out. CD Projekt Red partners with multiplayer studio Digital Escapes, who's very well known in the multiplayer FPS realm. And, they worked on other games as well. But yeah, a lot of stuff there. And then also this article, which I think the title here is sensational. It says CD Projekt Red is making a AAA multiplayer shooter, and it's probably Cyberpunk 2077. So we know that it's a single player game. That article was posted like 271 days ago. Title was sensational, but it did have some really good points that the team for Cyberpunk 2077 seems to have another team attached to it that's kind of doing exploratory and investigative stuff with multiplayer with Cyberpunk 2077. Does that mean we would see multiplayer in Cyberpunk 2077 anytime soon? No, I don't think so. I think that they're going to focus on what their audience really wants, and that, of course, is going to be single player experience. And they probably, and I know you guys would really love for the experience to be expanded upon going forward as well. So I think that's the route they would take, much like they did with The Witcher 3. All right, so as always, it's time to go over your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below for a chance for it to end up in the video. So let's do this. So here's the first top comment. It comes from Edouard, I think it is. He says, Cyberpunk 2077 is like an upgraded Deus Ex. Very upgraded. Yeah, definitely. I love the Deus Ex franchise for sure. I am totally hyped for this one, as are many of you guys. And, there's been a lot of debate over the first-person and third-person views, of course, but still, I'm really hyped for this one, despite not having the option to go in third person. I still think it's going to be very immersive. But it would be cool to be able to see your character a little bit more in the customization. But still, I think a lot of the gunplay is going to be huge for sure. Next top comment comes from L. Lemon, who says this: when people play this game in the real 2077, they're going to think, wow, they were way off. That made me laugh because I think of the movie Back to the Future, which was, it had like flying hoverboards, flying cars, and all sorts of stuff, and that was like for the year 2000 or something like that. And obviously, it looks nothing like right now Back to the Future. So that is so true. That always makes me laugh when you see like these over-exaggerated displays of like flying cars going in between cityscapes and stuff. Hey, you never know. Maybe Elon Musk will come up with something. Who knows? All right, so Devin says this, I think of Altered Carbon when I think of Cyberpunk. Altered Carbon is the best show on Netflix. Dude, I've got to check out this show. I've heard so many good things about it. I've been watching Narcos on Netflix. Totally addicted to that one, but I've been hearing good things about Altered Carbon. So I've got to check that one out, and it's probably a really good way to get hyped about Cyberpunk 2077 going forward. So yeah, definitely going to be checking out that one for sure. Now, Sinister Hand Gamer says this, I feel as though they're showing too much and talking about too much. I wouldn't want to paint an amazing picture in my head only to be let down afterwards. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I mean, I feel like CD Projekt Red is probably one of the most trustworthy developers and companies out there when it comes to this sort of stuff. And I don't think they've shown too much. They've only shown one demo. Probably get another something from E3, of course, going forward. But yeah, I hope they don't show too much also because we don't want it spoiled. This is one game that I think I really want to keep the spoilers away, even in terms of exploring the world for myself. I want to be able to stumble upon the cool scenery and the neat bar and the neon lit streets on my own. You know, I don't want to see too much. But there it is, guys. These happenings around Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red is always, on the hunt to offer us good news about the game, it seems. So that's really cool to see that they've made that decision about the Epic Games launcher going forward. It's nice that they made that decision. It looks like that they're not going to be exclusive. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Cyberpunk 2077 here on Open World Games and much more Open World Gaming goodness. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.